Hello, hello, and good morning. Happy hump day. It's Wednesday, August 6th, 2025. It's Weird News Wednesday. And apparently a lot of weird animal news happening in the world. We thought we'd change it up for the Weird News Wednesday. I am Manila Chan. That over there is Ted Rall. You're tuned in to the Ted Manila Information Show, TMI Show for short, because we bring you way too much information. Today, it's going to be way too much information about animals all around the world, because why not? So we are live Monday through Friday, obviously. This is Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So please be sure to hit the like and the follow button.
It's not obvious. I mean, we could not be,
Well,
I'm just saying.
I don't think we're ever live. I don't think we've ever gone live outside of Monday through Friday on the TMI show, or even on our old show. We were Monday through Friday, man.
We were.
Yeah.
Old
So
habits
please
die
be
hard.
sure. Please be sure, and at the same time frame. So please be sure to hit the like and the follow button wherever you're consuming this content. Subscribe if you're on YouTube, so we can continue to do this little show now that we're officially monetized and can start making a little bit of spending cash. Maybe pay for our internet bills to do this. So we'll do one quick story about Trump threatening to fully federalize DC. It's a fairly federalized district anyways, Ted, but there's some details on that. I asked ChatGPT about it. GPT's got some comments. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about a new kind of genociding happening over in the Israel-Gaza region. It's not what you think. It's animal related. It's a very strange story. Also, something very unique happening, I would say, Ted, in order to protect the nearly extinct rhinos of the world. So I think that's a good story. Which I would say tangentially related would have been this nuclear wasp story, but there's too many animal stories today.
Well, we might be able to get to it if we uncharacteristically go fast.
Yes. Then something about alligator Alcatraz possibly being shut down, because imagine this. There's environmental issues that weren't fully taken into consideration.
But do involve storks.
Oddly enough. Well, Ted, if it involves storks, that's probably why America is having a baby bust.
That's true.
This is a scientific fact.
The storks are in trouble.
Scientific fact. There's a stork shortage or problem.
Yeah.
And fewer babies in America. I don't think that's a coincidence.
That can't be.
Obviously, alligator Alcatraz has everything to do with that. And then last but not least, there's a new study coming out of Great Britain that seems to show that night owls are sharper and smarter, quicker-witted than the early risers. I like that story.
Huh? What?
That's right. So we obviously didn't have the. I am by nature. I'm fighting my natural circadian rhythm, and I've done stories about this in the past when I was a magazine journalist about sleep and stuff, and that's something I'm very interested in, because we like to think that sleep, it's akin to death. It's actually not. There are a shit ton of bodily functions happening while you are at rest, and all of these resets happening or whatever. Yeah. And I mean, I'll go into this at the end of the show towards the end when we cover this topic, but night owls, which I am naturally, that's when I've been my most creative, Ted. And I've banged out pages and pages of articles and back when I used to like hobby script writing. That was all done at like 3 o'clock in the morning. Me being up right now is against my natural circadian rhythm. Just saying.
I believe
this. all these the norms, these like normal business hours, that's not for everybody. And for many people, it's probably bad for their health. So we'll get into that British study a little bit later in the show. So with that, here come the jaws. Not of the crocs, because they're all being murdered. All right, first up, I get to cover this one because it's local to me and it's here in the nation's capital. President Donald Trump on Tuesday threatened to end DC home rule if the city did not crack down on crimes committed by minors, insisting that the district's lenient attitudes towards underage criminals have actually emboldened them. Quote, crime in Washington, D.C. is totally out of control. Local youths and gang members, some only 14, 15, and 16 years old, are randomly attacking, mugging, maiming, and shooting innocent citizens. Why he capitalized citizens in this Truth Social post, I don't know. At the same time, knowing that they will be almost immediately released. Again, that was Trump blathering on his Truth Social. This comes as a 19-year-old former DOGE staffer was beaten and bloodied by a mob of 10 minors early Sunday as he thwarted a carjacking attempt right here in the nation's capital, according to DC police. Edward Coristine, whose LinkedIn handle earned him that nickname Big Balls at DOGE, was with a woman near downtown DC.
Our most dignified citizen.
He, obviously. He's 19, though. I mean, so...
19 is a full-fledged adult douche in this country.
That's technically true, but, Big Balls is his handle. He was with a woman near downtown DC when a group of juveniles approached the car that they were in, and they made this comment about basically wanting to steal the car, according to Metro PD. At that point, quote, at that point, for her safety, Coristine pushed his significant other into the vehicle and turned to deal with the suspects. That's according to the report from Metro PD. Quote, the suspects then began to assault Coristine. The ex-DOGE staffer told the officers who rolled up on the scene. That's how they broke up the fight. So a bunch of young minors beating up this guy that's barely not a minor himself. DC police were able to nab 2 of the young suspects who were later positively identified by Coristine as being among his attackers. So let me tell you, Ted, I think it was a day that you were out that Robbie and I actually covered. It was in a special with our friend Lionel of Lionel Media about the Navy Yard, where it's now this kind of gentrified touristy trap place. There's like a boardwalk and all of this stuff. And every summer, increasingly the last couple of, during the Biden years, groups of young teens would be out way past what I would have had as a curfew when I was 14 or 15. And they are just wreaking havoc. They are mugging people, randomly beating people up. I mean, we're talking adults, tourists, and all that. Families are being terrorized, and they would like plan TikTok fights. They would, just wreak havoc on Navy Yard every summer, the last 4 or 5 summers. And so Trump's back in office, right? So then this happens to this DOGE kid, I think really drives the point home. Elon Musk also tweeted about it.
Well, it drove the point home for Donald Trump, about whom, look, DC's been a dangerous city forever. And, honestly, there's nothing new here. And, and it's just the fact that, like, this DOGE douche, got attacked, that, like, suddenly it comes to the Trumpsters' attention. Oops, like, DC is in trouble. I guess we need, we need someone like Ivanka. If she gets genocided in Gaza, then he'll start to care. It has to be personal for him. If it's someone he knows personally, then it becomes an issue. But, you know, I mean,
well, was he aware that New York City was dangerous? I mean, he's from New York.
I'm sure. Well, New York City is not as dangerous as Washington. Your per capita crime rate is much higher. You know, your per capita is what matters, right? It matters. It's your odd.
It becomes your risk of, you know, XYZ happening to you.
But I mean, the point is, it's like, look, here's the thing. As usual, Donald Trump is right about something in the wrong way. This is his thing. So he's right. DC crime is out of control. He's right that the government's pretty useless. I'm not sure that his proposed solution would help. They've tried that before. DC used to be run directly by originally was run directly by the federal government until they achieved home rule relatively recently in its history. But also, you know, using the DOGE douche as the reason to get angry about this, it's so gay. I mean, what? I mean, like, of all things, I mean, objectively, DC is a dangerous city. And when he says it's an embarrassment, like, you know, to have foreign dignitaries come and visit, and they see what a dump DC is, he's right about that. So he should just stick to, those are the arguments he should talk about. Whenever, you know, as a rule of thumb, whenever you're forced to talk about someone named Big Balls, you're probably not really, you know, messaging. Your messaging could improve.
Look, I always say this, like, I don't care who you are, even broken clocks are right twice a day. So however he arrived at this conclusion, I'm happy to hear that coming from POTUS, because I mean, even I moved out of the city proper many years ago and moved over to the suburbs. So when I first moved to DC in 2014, it was hitting its stride in gentrification. I lived in Logan Circle, and back then it was, I mean, I felt safe. I'm from a big city, obviously, so I always kind of, you know, keep my head on a swivel, but I felt certainly safer in DC than I ever did in Los Angeles, you know, at any given place in LA at any given time. I in 2014 felt safer in DC then. And so I think I got to DC right at the peak of gentrification. And it's been, after I left a few years later into the suburbs, it has now descended into like full chaos. The longer Muriel Bowser, the mayor, has been in charge, the shittier the city has become. Then you add COVID. COVID shut down a bunch of businesses. Mm-hmm. And remember, I was still working downtown at RT America. And so I see all this stuff. Then you had, you know, the Summer of Love riots in 2020, which really created like anarchy on the streets. Businesses were shut down from COVID. You had all of these like nonstop rioting, tearing things down, breaking into businesses, breaking into like people surrounding cars. That sort of mayhem made public, laid to bear for the world to see. For these young kids that are right now, like 15 years old, let's say, they were like 10 years old, right? They're impressionable. They're seeing this stuff happening. That kind of behavior became normalized to the kids in DC. So now you have like 14 and 15-year-olds, and this is a true story, carjacking Uber Eats drivers. One of them got killed by two like 13 and 14-year-old girls, little girls, carjacking the Uber Eats driver's car. I think the man was like a Pakistani American, an immigrant. I don't know. I think he was Indian or Pakistani. But anyway, these girls, he tried to grab onto his car and got caught somehow. They dragged him. They drove him. I remember this. Horrible story. And that kind of behavior, it's like, where are their parents? Where this kind of behavior under Muriel Bowser, like the laxed response from Metro PD, the parents just kind of being hands off with everything. Youth behavior in DC, I don't know about everywhere else, but I can tell you in DC, in New York, is out of control.
Let me tell you, in New York City, and this has been the case for as long as I've been here, which is 45 years. If you get mugged in New York City, the odds are it's by someone who's in high school or intermediate school,
really?
as we call it here. The odds are it's someone 13 to 18 years of age. And if you look at, if you go to if you talk to the cops and you ask to look at the mugshots, you will see giant binders full of these youthful offenders. They are the crime. In New York City, we don't have I don't know how it works in DC, you tell me, but we don't have a school bus system. So the kids.
Wait, what?
The kids go to school on mass transit. They get a pass for the subway or the bus. So my kid used to take 3 subways to go to school each direction. So the thing is let me tell you, particularly in the afternoon when school lets out around 3, you do not want to be riding the New York City subway. Seasoned veteran New Yorkers know. They look at their watch and they're like, oh boy, it's 2:50. You know what? I need to go to Starbucks right now and chill for about 45 minutes because, and then I'll go home later because you might not make it home at 3 o'clock because the kids get on the subway and they go crazy. And they mug people, they attack people, they swing from the hand straps, they kick people in the face. They're out of it's now. Maybe I'm not saying
I see that they're subway surfing now.
I'm saying that's not always true. Well, subway surfing is funny, right? Because it means different things. Like when the term originated years and years ago, like subway surfers in the 70s. That was like you just rode on the subway and then you're like trying to maintain your balance as it goes around a corner or whatever. And it was a much jerkier ride back then. So it was harder to do that.
Like inside the train car.
Yeah, inside. But now it's up on top.
On top, yeah.
You know, obviously you can't.
Kids are dying.
Places. Yeah, they are. It's Darwinism. It like culls the herd. No one smart ever died that way. So I'm just going to say though, so yeah, they do that out in Queens on the number 7 line. That's the one. But the one that goes to the Chinatown out in Queens. But anyway, the point is that like I'm not saying that like this will guaranteed happen, but it's the school thing, but it's terrifying, absolutely terrifying to be on the subway when school lets out. So I'm just saying that like, that's how it is. I know it's like that in DC. LA is the same way.
It's not so much. It's not as bad during the day. It's not so bad during the daytime. And I'm going to zero in on Navy Yard because that's where all the political hubbub kind of broke out this summer.
You're going to have to explain that neighborhood because to people who aren't familiar with DC, like where is it? What is it?
So it's southeast. It's right along the river.
The Potomac.
If you're coming from Virginia on the 14th Street Bridge, just as you're entering DC, it's that first exit on your right. So, and that leads you to the waterfront area.
And Southeast is sort of generally not a good part of DC, right?
Well, yes, but developers have been trying to gentrify it for years because it's prime real estate, right? It's right on the Potomac River. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of old buildings that are still there, like fisheries and stuff that are getting like flipped into cool breweries and lofts on top and just like really cool stuff. So they're trying to gentrify it. There's like, they made a whole waterfront district there, like I said, with a boardwalk and fancy restaurants, like a Jose Andres restaurant. And so it's supposed to be this like really nice up and coming neighborhood and up and coming, I would say just over the last 10 years since I've been here. But for whatever reason, I don't know why, but it kind of started during the Biden years, during the COVID era, where all of these kids, and I would say social media has a big role in this.
It does.
Because,
because then
because they're planning these things.
They want stuff to brag about.
Yeah. So Robbie, as a parent of teenage kids, okay, I'm going to pop him on. Okay, hold on. Okay, Robbie,
let's make this quick,
you got a teenager.
We have animals to get to.
No, just super fast. I'm just curious. I mean, y'all are a lot. What's the word? Kinder than I am. I just think that the way that you solve this, because if you don't have parents, and the government is these kids' fathers, it sounds like for the most part, then maybe the government should start making a public example. Look at you, Singapore, cane them. Or if you kill someone, you crucify his ass Roman style on the interstate.
That's normal.
You make no.
Sure.
Public examples work for a reason. Public deterrent is a thing. So,
actually, there's no evidence whatsoever that public executions reduced crime ever.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm saying a public spectacle. I mean,
it's entertaining, but I don't. I mean, look, the Old West had plenty of public hangings, and it was also incredibly dangerous.
Oh, very much so. But I mean, how much money? Honestly, do y'all pay in taxes to live in a city where it's not safe to go anywhere?
I mean, women.
Look, it's
if they're not being physically assaulted, like women are being other kinds of physically assaulted by teenage boys. They're being like, boys are running off of buses or whatever and going and grabbing women's breasts, their butts. They're just doing really awful things. If you're not going to get like clocked in the face and your purse snatched or your phone stolen right out of your hands, like while you're looking at a map or whatever. If that's not what's happening to you, there are women that are getting, their asses grabbed by teenage boys. Like,
where are y'all's men at? I mean, I'm serious. Try that here in Kalispell, Montana, and see what the hell happens to you.
So here's my question. Like, I'm not going to be for public floggings and canings, but I know you are.
Manila, but you've got teenage thugs out there playing polar bear games and engaging in gladiatorial sports and sexual assault on the street, and you still want to treat these little fucknuts with kid gloves? Well, no, screw
that. My question is, where is the parents' responsibility? Where's the parents on this? Shouldn't they be the ones getting fined or like put in jail? Like, does that?
Honestly,
because putting the parents in jail for the teenager does so much better, because then you go from zero supervision to none.
Yeah, not to mention, half the time these parents are working. Okay, I mean, kids are in school. Kids are crazy because they have crazy hormones, right? Yeah. That's what's really true. That's why they calm down by the time they're 30, right? So they have crazy hormones. They're running around in the streets. They're egging each other on, and it is
social media eggs them on.
It is true that there's not enough social control. Like, for example, fairly recently, maybe a month or two ago, I was at a CVS. And this crazy homeless dude had a giant garbage bag, and he was taking all of the candies off the shelves and dumping them in. And he's like, rah, 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 rah. And I'm like thinking, well, first of all, my first question was, is he a cabinet member? Because these days that could be true. But also, I'm thinking, and we're standing around, the people are all terrified. And my urge was like, I'll just fucking beat that guy over the head. I mean, but I wouldn't. I'd be in jail now if I did that. I mean, like, I felt sorry for the women who worked there, who were shaking like a leaf, and no one could. I mean, it's like, seriously, one guy could take him easily, and there were two or three of us, and everyone's like, stay back. The corporate tells us not to interfere.
Yeah, that's
we called the police. And blah, 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 blah. And I'm like,
that's true.
No, I think this is where I roll, Robbie style. I have no problem with someone walking in and shooting that dude. I mean, at all. I mean, it's like you have no law. If you have in the hierarchy of needs,
you have no civilization without law.
Law and order is absolutely at the. This would surprise people to hear this. I'm a communist. Communists believe in law and order. Like, it's literally the most important thing. Like, when I was in Afghanistan, when there was no law and order, believe me, I didn't care about democracy or journalism or free speech. You can't have people just walk around and shoot people for fun.
Sure.
And that's and like that, like a situation like that has to be under control. I mean, I agree that, like, if a woman is assault, if someone grabs a lady and grabs her tits in the street and someone shoots that kid, I have no problem with that at all. That's great. That is good. It's fair. Like, who the fuck are you? What the fuck are you doing?
Well,
like,
I mean,
that's just
I don't know about
acceptable.
Murder, but I feel like that kid should have his ass beat by the nearest man that witnesses it.
Some kind of consequence is my point.
Well,
the man should not be in trouble for beating that kid's ass.
No, of course not. He's being a good Samaritan.
I mean, the reason why you have a city full of vandals is because you have no law and order.
True.
The government destroyed the concept of the family. Most of these people don't have a dad at home. Let's be honest.
That's true.
You have a mom who has like 15 to 20 different baby daddies. She's doing God knows what. These people
or she's at work, working 20 hours a day.
Talk about free range parenting. Well, there you go. So then what do? You can't have civilization without order.
So what about the corporate's role? I remember a local story, again, downtown DC. I can't remember if it was Lululemon or the Patagonia store or something, but two of the workers, and I think they were both females, tried to stop somebody from shoplifting, which is against company policy. Mm-hmm. And the company fired those two women.
It's not their job. You call the cops. Ted, you're going to be here in Kalispell tomorrow. Mm-hmm. I'm going to take you down to downtown Kalispell, the mean streets as it was. And I promise you're going to feel perfectly safe. You know why?
Oh,
because
I'm sure.
You are. No, because we have cops who do their job, and more to the point, we have an armed citizenry that will ventilate your ass.
No, I know that's true. I mean, like in Afghanistan, when things are running properly, people are exceedingly polite and considerate. They hold doors for each other because everyone's armed. Like if you're disrespectful
it was like that in Arizona.
Anyone, you're going to die. And
I would not tolerate. I'm going to drop off because I know we're going over. But I would be enraged if I was paid the amount of taxes that the two of you pay to live in two cities that are a national disgrace. And I would want to know what is it that you're doing to fix the problem.
You're 100% right.
I agree.
And
I don't feel safe.
No, well, you keep electing people, not you specifically, but the people in y'all cities keep electing the people who continue giving these little fuckers a pass. No, you go Singapore style. You take
Muriel Bowser, man.
You get some thug down there, you get a cane or what the hell ever it is you want to do. You beat him to within an inch of his life, and you put that thing on every billboard. Say, you want to have your chance to shine, motherfucker? Here you go. Here's your chance. And if you kill someone, put you on a cross on the interstate, Spartacus style, just all the way from New York to Baltimore, or not New York, from DC to Baltimore. I guarantee you the crime problem will go away. Deterrence works.
Deterrence doesn't always work, true. But yeah. But
I do think, there needs to be something that's done, because I'll tell you, as a mom with a young child, I absolutely will not be downtown or near the waterfront, near Navy Yard by the time it gets dark.
I mean, frankly, there's no cops around. That's a huge part of the problem.
Yeah.
When we about 5-6 years ago, me and Kizzy were walking downtown. Some smart ass tourist came up and said, "Oh, what are you, the token N-word?" And I punched that bastard right in the mouth. And you know what the cop said? "Good shot."
Yeah.
There you go. That guy said that to your wife?
Yeah. He called her a token nigger. Yes, he did. And let me tell you something. I nailed that sucker, that song that the libtards hate. Try that in a small town. By God, it's freaking true. And y'all cities suck because y'all allow them to suck.
Yeah, that is
you
did the right thing. God bless that. I mean, and I'm glad. So the cops were called and they came and like, Mr. West, good job.
The cops are not displeased when these things happen. I have a friend, Jim. He was mugged back in the bad old 80s, which are back again in the Port Authority bus terminal, which is a warren of places for muggers to hide. And anyway, he was mugged by a couple. But what they didn't understand was that he was a black belt in Taekwondo, even though he looked like a dork. So he quickly overcame both of them and had his knee on the throat of the woman while he was pounding the shit out of the dude. The cops come along, Port Authority policemen, and they start laughing. And they're like, "Look at white boy." And so they're like, they knew the couple who, they're like, they arrested them thousands of times. They're like, and so he took Jim aside. The cops took Jim aside and they said, "Listen, here's what we're going to give you a choice. We can book them, take them down to the tombs. They'll be out tonight at 2:00 in the morning. Or we can Otis them And he's like, Otis him. He's like, Otis him. And they gesture to the elevator. You know.
Oh Otis the elevator. Oh my God.
And so he's like, doesn't really know what that means, but he's like, let's go with Otis. So the cops are like, they like, have a nice day, sir. They take him over. The elevator door opens. The elevator door shuts, and you know those elevators, old elevators where you can see where it is, right? They're on like level 4, but the 3 doesn't ding, and the elevator stops between floors, and you just hear the sounds of 2 people being beaten up in the elevator.
Oh my God!
Good.
They got Otis.
Well,
they
shout out.
fucked around and they found out, and frankly, I don't have any problem with that. But I mean, it's like, and there was an incident where one time in my apartment, this was more recent. This was in the 90s.
Was it the lady doing Santeria?
Mental health day. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. My roommate's off to work. I'm just take the day off. I'm drinking my coffee, reading the Times, and then someone starts trying to break into my apartment. I see the doorknob turning just like in a movie, right? Like in a Hitchcock film. So I'm like, oh fuck, right? And they're banging around. I see the door moving. I'm like, they're gonna come in here. What am I gonna do? And so I go and peek through the peephole, and I see like a guy on his hands and knees with burglar tools next to him on the floor. He's trying to get into my apartment. So I'm like, what do I do? Well, if I call 911, the cops aren't going to be there before he's
too late. Yeah.
So I'm like, and also I don't want him to run away because he'll come back and break into my apartment when I'm not off from work. So that's when I noticed my roommate's bike lock on the table. And so I'm like, this is what we're going to do. So I snuck over there, yanked the door open. The dude tumbles into my apartment. I wail on him with the chain lock, catch him right under the chin. I see a spray of blood. I slam the door, call 911. And so then when I heard them coming, I'm like, okay, I'll open the door. I look out. I see a trail of blood going down the hall. I follow it down the stairs. And then I go outside, and there's the dude unconscious, like in front of the building. And there's 2 cops, one black, one white. The black cop goes, "You did that?" I go, "Yeah." And he's like, "Good job." And he's like, because he's in a coma. Hopefully he'll die. And that's literally how they handled it. And they're like, we have to apologize. We have to fill out a few forms, but you're good.
No. And they didn't press. No one brought charges.
Nothing happened at all.
And we want to. I gotta hold on. I gotta give a shout out. I gotta give a shout out to Well Dressed Nerd for his donation. He says,
"Thank you."
Problem is liberal policies and social re-engineering decimated the nuclear family, and COVID rule pinned with social media destroyed moral and social development of this generation. These kids are lost.
I think the nuclear family is itself the problem. I think that when we lived like the Waltons, like with multi-generational families all together, you had wisdom passed down. The elderly were taken care of. It was more intimate.
Eastern cultural families.
Social culture. I mean, the society was stronger. I think the nuclear family is toxic and bad.
Well, I consider that still nuclear family, right? Like your parents, and then you have your own kids.
No, nuclear family is just parents and children. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's the American style nuclear family. Asian style nuclear family is
that's not nuclear.
Parents.
That's not nuclear.
Yeah.
That's multi-generational. Much better. That's far better system.
I mean, it's typically,
I'm into that.
It's traditional, right? And as the economy collapses, you're going to go more and more into that because, well, people can't afford to live anywhere. There's a reason.
Think about it. To put your parent into a nursing home is like $8, $9, $10 a month. Who's got that? Nobody.
Yeah. No. And then your kids return home from college and they can't afford to live anywhere. So that I personally think that's better, anyways, for everybody. For everybody.
I'm going away now.
Anyway, okay, we'll leave that there.
Right, let's get to the animals here.
Okay, animals.
This story went twice too long. All right, we gotta get more disciplined about that. All right,
not gonna happen.
Yeah, no, that's probably true.
The Crocs, Israel.
Wait. Oh, here we go. Okay, here we go. Israel said that it slaughtered 200 crocodiles at an abandoned farm on one of those illegal settlements in the occupied West Bank. You got to really unspool that, right? So basically, there's the West Bank, which is supposed to belong to the Palestinians. The settlers go in there. They're like, let's grow crocodiles here. Then
very weird.
And they abandon the farm with its crocodiles. So anyway, then the Israeli government goes into the West Bank to the abandoned croc farm, and it said that it found that the crocodiles were eating each other. They were involved in croco-cannibalism and posed a risk to human beings. The Nile crocs were being kept in an abandoned compound under poor conditions that constitute an animal abuse with insufficient access to food, which had driven them to cannibalistic behavior, said SOGAT, the Israeli Defense Ministry body.
I thought it was COGAT.
Yeah, COGAT, the civil affairs in the Palestinian territories. By the way, how hilarious is this? The Israelis are deeply concerned about starving crocodiles, but not at all deeply concerned about starving children. Anyway, COGAT said that the farm's fencing had fallen apart after the farm was closed in 2013, allowing several crocodiles to escape into nearby communities and nature reserves. Just another fun thing that the Israelis brought to the Palestinians. After the owner refused to repair the fence and 12 years of seeking solutions to the issue. 12 years! COGAT said the hazard must be addressed immediately through the humane culling of the animals. I'd say we're 12 years too late to use the word immediately.
Wait, just so we're clear, who actually owned this croc farm? Was it an Israeli settler?
Were Israeli settlers, like Zionist colonists. Yeah.
Okay.
These are illegal settler invader people.
Okay.
A video shows teenagers throwing rocks at the crocs. And that video is what finally prompted COGAT to do something about it. The farm is in a town called Petzael in the Jordan Valley. It was opened to tourists in the 90s, and then it was turned into a commercial farm for croc skin. Then a new law passed in 2013, making the crocs a protected species that forced the closure of the farm. This is my favorite quote of all time. I don't want to think of what will happen if a crocodile manages to escape and reaches the Jordan River, and then we'll have an international incident, the head of the local community told the AP, referencing the border with Jordan 4 miles away. Yeah, the Hashemite kingdom of Jordan probably, it's like, fuck you, Israel settler crocs. Let the animals live. An Israeli animal rights organization said that 262 crocodiles were culled and denounced the move, saying that the reptiles had never attacked anybody. The Parks and Nature Authority authorized shooting and killing the crocodiles, just as it does with pigs, dogs, jackals. I didn't know Israel had jackals. Wolves,
jackals,
various birds, and many other animals in Israel, the group said in a social media post. This is truly immoral, infuriating, and heartbreaking. Gadi Batan, the owner of the farm for the last 30 years, and obviously a real piece of work, told Israeli media outlet Ynet that he wasn't warned of what happened. It was an execution, plain and simple, he said. These animals were in good health, well-fed, not like the people in Gaza, and no serious accident was ever reported. I wonder if there's any minor accidents have ever been reported.
Okay, this
is such a great story. Such a great story.
This is just seriously, like,
except
this
for the killing
is all
of the crocodiles, which I am against. The crocodiles should have been. They should live in the Knesset with the Israeli lawmakers, who they can work it out.
Hold on. Are crocs native to this region at all?
Well, I think that the fact that the term Nile crocodile answers that question.
So just
right,
on
because
the Nile
is not in Israel, right?
So
no.
So not well. So theoretically, they could survive in this. Well,
they did.
But the problem is that
they've been 12 years chilling.
So if they. Yeah, but at a farm. So if they escaped into the Jordan River, theoretically they could survive.
Well, of course, because they're look, they're from a place whose climate is not very different than Israel.
That's what I mean. So is the, you know, I don't know. I've not been there, but, you know, is the Nile very different than the Jordan River? Could these guys?
I have never been to the Nile. I have been to the Jordan River. I don't see any reason why crocodiles could not live in the Jordan River.
Wait, so now that so this is an abandoned Israeli croc farm by Israeli settlers. Yeah. That they were raising to use for their
By the way,
skin.
I just want to know exactly how what part of the Torah told the settlers they had to go raise crocs in the Jordan Valley. Anyway.
So this was meant for, you know, like crocodile skin for their purses, you know, to make purses.
Well, I guess originally it was not originally. Originally it was like meant to be like a tourist attraction. Come and see the crocs. You know, like those alligator places in Florida, right? And then,
I thought this was
then in 2013 they passed a law saying that they, that they were a
the Nile croc
species.
Is a protected,
and so that at some point it became a farm, right? And then,
right, because you know it was at first I thought they were farming them in order to make handbags or
but then in 2013 the farm closed.
Fine retail
that was illegal. Yeah, exactly. For your shoes.
And then you know I look, let's be honest. I can totally see Benjamin Netanyahu wearing a pair of croc skin boots. 100%.
Well, or Palestinian baby skin. That's
or that. I mean, whatever. Softer. You know, like Sarah Netanyahu wearing, you know, baby skin handbags.
Of course, obviously,
totally.
Yeah.
But
lampshades.
So now it's the Nile croc is a protected species. So the farm gets shut down, and if it's shut down, why didn't the Israeli government do something about it back 10 years ago?
Because they don't give a shit about what happens in the West Bank. Because they don't care if settlers kill the locals, which they do every day.
Yeah, so I mean, but this was Israeli property, quote unquote, right? Like
stolen.
But the crocs belong to Israelis, so why didn't they do it?
Because they just didn't. Because they're horrible.
So they abandon it.
Yeah.
These crocs get loose and start crawling off to the West Bank. That's just this is all kinds of weird.
I know. It's so great, isn't it? It's so great. I mean,
so now they've culled them all. They've killed all of them?
They killed them all. Yeah. So
what
I guess they brought in some guys from the IDF from hey, sorry, you got to take time off from genocide. But it's still a kind of genocide.
We need you to put down some crocs.
Yeah, put down some crocs. Yeah.
But now I want to know what happened to their skins.
Well, that's a good question.
If these are protected species, why didn't they, by Israeli law, if these are a protected species, by Israel's laws, why did they not get relocated if these are some sort of, rare creature?
You know what?
now?
No, you're you know what? That didn't even cross my mind. You're totally right. It violates Israeli law. These are protected. I guess they just talked themselves into it well, we're putting them down out of it's a mercy killing, and we'll get some court to see it our way. But probably who's going to sue, right? The croc farm guy who didn't feed them for 12 years or what?
Yeah. So it's a protected species. So I don't understand why these creatures weren't.
No, they could have been transported elsewhere and released. For example, they could ask the Egyptians to take them. In the Nile.
Back to the Nile.
Back to the Nile from whence you came. Home free as free.
I thought that would be the most obvious thing. Was
no, you're right.
It's a protected species. Why are you killing them?
Manila, you need to call the croc people and tell them.
How do I report Bibi Netanyahu not for genocide of Palestinians?
No,
but report him.
Croco genocide.
Yeah, report him for killing an endangered species.
No, you should. All right, and let's keep going here. Under a collaborative project among the University of Witwatersrand, nuclear energy officials and conservationists, the horns of 5 rhinos, and more were done earlier, have been injected with radioactive isotopes in what the university hopes will be the mass injection of the entire declining rhino population. Last year, they did it to 20 rhinos at a sanctuary as part of initial trials. The radioactive isotopes, even at low levels, can be recognized by radiation detectors at airports and borders, which can lead to the arrest of poachers and traffickers. Researchers at the school's Radiation and Health Physics unit say that tests conducted through a pilot program confirm that the radioactive material isn't harmful to the animals. We've demonstrated beyond scientific doubt that the process is completely safe for the animal and effective in making the horn detectable through international customs nuclear security systems, said James Larkin, chief science officer of the Rhizotope Project. Even a single horn with significantly lower level of radioactivity than what will be used in practice successfully triggered alarms in radiation detectors, he said. The tests also confirmed that individual horns could be detected inside full 40-foot shipping containers. The International Union for Conservation of Nature estimates that the global rhino population was about 500,000 at the beginning of the last century. Now it's down to about 27,000 due to poaching rhino horns on the black market. South Africa has the biggest population in the world of rhinos with an estimated 16,000, but the country has high level of poaching. About 500 of the rhinos get killed for their horns every year. Private and public rhino owners, who owns a rhino?
What?
And conservation authorities have been urged to approach the university to have their rhinos injected. So, when I have a cat. Robbie's cat sitting. If you're in RSA, you might have a pet rhino. So I have questions about this. First of all, are you really sure that they're safe? Also, I once sat on a plane next to a guy wearing one of those colorful robes. He was from Burkina Faso in West Africa. And I was looking at a picture in a magazine, and it happened to have a rhino on it. And I saw him looking at it, and I said, very cool creature. And he's like, fuck those bastards. I was like, what?
What?
And he goes,
fuck the rhinos?
Yeah, fuck the rhinos. And I was like, well, what do you mean by that? And he goes, it's like, listen, like you in the West, you've killed all your big animals, your dangerous big animals, like, wolves and all that. Like we, in Africa, you think it's all good fun. We have to keep them. But like, let me tell you, when one of those fuckers goes running through your village and like runs over your child and trashes your car, you don't give a shit about conservation. You're like, kill them all. I was like, that's a perspective.
Oh.
I mean, I saw his point. I mean, it's true. We have like, it's sort of like the way that we in the West, we had the Industrial Revolution, we polluted everything. And now we're like, okay, we're going to do less pollution. And China's like, so they were like, China, stop polluting. They're like, but we're just getting started. Yeah, fuck you. Close down your economy. So it's like that. We're like kind of like, oh, like we killed all our giant animals, right? Like,
well, no, Robbie's there with the big animals, the moose.
Well, that's true.
The buffalo.
However, we've killed most of the moose.
So, but remember, the story here though is the injecting of into the horn, and they say it doesn't. Okay,
and it's also doesn't really not hurt them.
Right? Does it really?
It's sort of like
it's radioactive shit.
Just a little bit, it's just a little bit of cancer. That never hurts anybody.
Like, is that right? Are the rhinos gonna show up with like horn cancer or like snout cancer? Like,
I don't know.
But no,
I mean it's an interesting idea. It's very strange though.
Like poacher, yeah, it's a very strange thing. I read a story while looking for like weird stories for today for Weird News Wednesday. In Thailand, a male bull elephant broke into a local grocery store and started eating banana chips.
Well, he was hungry.
Yep.
There's elephants in Thailand.
Well, think about how hungry that elephant would be in Gaza.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here bears are known to go into towns. They know where the grocery stores are. They go, they grab something, they leave. It's just like, here we go. It happens.
And you don't stop.
So they're like crazy people at CVS in New York.
Now, Robbie,
they just go grab shit and leave.
Now, Robbie, I would say, like, where's the law and order here? like you might accuse those of us in the East Coast cities of being louche and allowing violent crime. But here you have these furry, albeit extremely cute and powerful, predatory shoplifters, and they're going into stores and running rampant. Shouldn't they be shot?
They're looting Montana stores.
Yeah.
No, because they serve a very valuable role. They scare off the tourists. And so that is a net win. That's worth the couple $100 a year.
They kill a handful of tourists in Montana every year.
Yeah, they do. There was
because
some
idiot tourists want to go pet a grizzly bear or whatever.
That happened yesterday. Some woman up at Glacier Park, she wanted to go pet a bear cub, and saw the bear cub.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, here's this little bear cub. It's right here, so I'm going to go there. I'm going to go pet it.
Well, no one's ever heard that that's dangerous. So,
and then of course, Mama has different ideas, and so like Ted said, it's Darwinism. It's a public service killing.
It's nature, man. It's nature.
Yeah, nature's
so there
crazy.
You go.
All right,
Robbie's around the big animals. Ted and I are not. So
no, that's true.
All
Let's
right.
keep going here. Known for the eponymous reptiles that inhabit the nearby swamps, the migrant detention gulag, dubbed Alligator Alcatraz, faces the possibility of getting shut down over concerns over some of the area's lesser known inhabitants, the Everglades bats, panthers, and storks. Federal judge on Wednesday is set to hold an evidentiary hearing over whether to block operations at the controversial gulag because construction of the site allegedly bypassed federally required environmental impact studies. While Wednesday's hearing is limited to environmental issues, including the impact on the nearby Big Cypress National Preserve, testimony is expected to shine a light on the operations of the facility, could result in a federal judge ordering it to be completely shut down until the required environmental impact studies are conducted. They have a lot of bodyguards and a lot of cops that are in the form of alligators. You don't have to pay them so much, Trump said last month when visiting the facility, adding that he'd like to see similar facilities constructed. He's such a child. Look, environmental impact studies they're incredibly important. Every idiot knows that if you're building something in a ecologically sensitive place, you have to conduct a detailed environmental impact study and file that with the EPA. That's federal law. Here in New York City, for example, in the 1970s, there was an idea to basically bury the West Side Highway, which currently runs along the Hudson River, and put it under, kind of like the Big Dig in Boston, so that in order to allow better access to Manhattanites to the river. And so and this was called Westway, was the idea, the Westway project. Now, community activists opposed it for a whole lot of reasons, but ultimately the reason Westway will never be built was because there's a fish, an obscure fish, that basically spawns and lays its eggs in that area. And its spawning would be affected by the construction of Westway. So the environmental impact study revealed that, and it could never be built as a result. So this meant a multi-billion-dollar project never took place. I think it's the striped bass, if I'm not mistaken. But
California, we've got our own thing that's been argued for many years now. Where now it's in the area of like the big Malibu fires from January. Is if anyone that's been to California or knows at least like the map or the famed PCH, Pacific Coast Highway runs all the way north to south along the coast. Just the most scenic drive anybody
truly
could
classic American drive. For sure.
Just beautiful. And I not recently, but 2 years ago, did this drive from SoCal up to NorCal, up on Pacific Coast Highway, just because I'm a California girl. I needed to see the Pacific Ocean. I needed to see the sunrise and set. That's my norm, right? And for the last many years, Gavin Newsom has been trying to get this deal done of basically a footpath going over PCH because it's a big highway for the land animals, not right, because Los Angeles has so many fucking land animals, but the theory is for the idea is for the land animals to cross. Well, we do have, but they don't come out of the hills very much, to go to the ocean, to cross PCH, because oftentimes what happens if like deer are trying to cross to get towards the ocean, or let's say, I don't know, bobcat decides to leave Pasadena and head to Malibu, they're becoming roadkill. So Gavin Newsom has been trying to get this passed, before his term ends. It's not going to happen because there's other environmental impact. They're back and forth over this environmental impact stuff. He's arguing that it would help the larger land mammals. Other conservationists are saying, we've already destroyed the California coast by putting homes there. And now you want it, it's not only going to be used by animals, humans are going to use it inevitably, and blah, blah, blah. So it's been this thing ongoing forever. I don't know what the answer is there, because I get why for both sides. I don't know what the answer is, other than if you're trying to cross PCH, you play Frogger with your life. For humans, I'm saying. That's true. Mm-hmm. It's very true. I've crossed it.
Not recommended.
Not great. Not recommended. There are small parts like in Santa Monica that actually have designated crosswalks, and even at the designated crosswalks, people get smashed into roadkill every year, like because people are zooming down Pacific Coast Highway. So this I get it, like land alligator Alcatraz, though, this went up like practically overnight. Ted, it went up as quickly as a Chinese COVID hospital.
Yes, it did.
I mean, literally.
Yeah.
I'm not even saying that in a derogatory way. I mean, literally, it went up that fast, and they're like, let's put all the migrants there.
Nothing derogatory about that. Chinese know what they're doing.
They just popped it up. It went up that quickly. So I'm not a fan of alligator Alcatraz. And now, like I said, and this is science, Ted, I'm the voice of science now.
Yeah.
If you're impacting the storks, less babies in America. Because that's exactly the story I told my son.
So true.
Because he asked me, he's 6, and he asked how he got there. So it's one of 2 stories. More recently, I've changed it, but storks was.
You filled him in on the
No.
No.
He's 6. Not yet. Maybe when he gets to like 9 or 10, we'll get into anatomy and that kind of science, but. No, for now it has a lot to do. The story, the first story was storks, and the most recent story from like last week had to do with God, prayers, and perfect timing, immaculate timing. So that was that. All right. So what do you think, Ted? Alligator Alcatraz, keep it up, take it down.
Oh, I think it's got to come down. I mean, honestly. It's the Everglades. I mean, that's an extremely ecologically sensitive place. I mean, obviously, any idiot knows that. And so there's lots of animals there. It's very sensitive wetlands. They shouldn't have built. They should tear the whole thing down right away, immediately. Seriously, they just shouldn't. I'm not even going to make this about the migration debate. I don't care if they had built, a senior center or a public library there or whatever. It just shouldn't be there. So. For that reason, it should go.
Yeah, I think for every reason, it's not a great thing to have been built. All right, last story, and probably this one is my favorite. A study in Britain found that people who stay up late seem to have better overall mental sharpness than those who wake up early. Although this conclusion has caveats, it would still appear on the surface to be great news for procrastinators, TV binge watchers, late night sugar and caffeine consumers, and self-destructive people across the globe. Yay!
Yay, Hunter Biden.
And it would seemingly be bad news for people trying to live life responsibly. However, the study seemed to show that a more important factor for mental sharpness was how much sleep a person got, which would seem to make much more sense, obviously. but doesn't really make for catchy headlines. So that's why they're calling it that, is like night owls. The study, led by researchers at Imperial College in London, used data taken from over 26,000 people in Britain who had performed intelligence, reasoning, reaction time, and memory tests. It's likely that many of the British participants asked for a spot of tea at some point during the process. This test data was compared to how long people slept, their quality of sleep, and time of day that people felt most productive and alert. Those who stayed up late or even moderately late performed better than morning people, with the study noting that the length of sleep is important for mental alertness and functioning. It said that 7 to 9 hours daily is best. I think everybody knew that, but cool. Thanks for the confirmation. The lead author of the study said that it's important not to get too little and not too much sleep. So obviously everybody knows, Ted, that not enough sleep is a bad thing, but apparently the opposite can be true also. Too much sleep isn't good for you. They say, quote, extreme fog and confusion and generally feeling kind of dumb and not responding quickly to annoying coworkers around you who are asking you a bunch of dumb questions about meaningful stuff. So they don't actually have they're working on that one about how if you get too much sleep, what kind of brain fog that was a joke quote.
Yeah, we know that feeling. I mean, everyone knows that feeling when you, for whatever reason, sleep a really long time. You're definitely going to be, it takes a while to recover from that. You get
from too much sleep. Yeah.
Slow.
Caveat here, a lecturer at another university in London pointed out that the study didn't include participants' education levels or what time of day the cognitive tests were performed. And I feel like I agree with what this article says, that those are important factors before you can draw proper conclusions. So yeah, like I said at the top of the show, Ted, I don't know why I had a fascination with sleep 15 years ago. I've interviewed sleep experts or whatever. So yeah, there is, I've seen so many articles of like, oh, you should be an early riser, get everything done, or what. No, it matters. From the research I've done and the articles I've written, the sleep experts I've talked to, and what I recall was that it depends on your own body clock, your own personal circadian rhythm. Some people are like let's call it mid shift. Some people are early risers. Some people are night owls. I'm naturally a night owl. And because I'm forced to conform to normal business hours, after I got off the field as a reporter and became an anchor, and I had to conform to normal business hours, and then I became a mom and I had to conform to weirder hours. I'm fighting against my own biology, because for me, I would say my peak creativity and alertness often comes after midnight. Like that's my body clock, and everybody's body clock is different. And I always still though manage to get in like 7 hours of sleep. I recall when I was a news anchor in Arizona, and I didn't get off. I was doing the 10 o'clock news, so I didn't get off of work until like 11. I would go to the grocery stores, at that time. I would go to the gym at that time. I would be great falling asleep at like 3 o'clock in the morning. I would wake up at like 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, do whatever I had to do, get to the studio at like 2 in the afternoon. That was like, I felt peak. That was peak for me. So this study, the last commenter from another university in London is correct. It just depends on you. I think a lot of people I think we're not as dumb as we seem in America, Ted. I think it's that we're forced to conform to this 9 to 5 thing, and that many, many, many people are actually fighting their natural body clocks, so their brains, no matter how hard you try, aren't going to be firing on all its pistons, because you're not programmed that way. You're not made that way. Are you a morning person? I'm not. I can.
I'm more of a morning person. By the way, another important, which I'm kind of frustrated that it was not mentioned in this story, though, is that your circadian rhythms are synced up. Ideally, we should really be getting up with the sun and going to sleep with the sun. But if you have to choose one or the other, we are synced far more to sunrise than we are to sunset. So, and so that does play into this study, because as long as you can stay up late, but you should still get up on time. Nobody's getting enough sleep in our society. We should
That's true.
And the thing is, obviously, this is different if you live in parts of the world like way up north or way down south, where you have very short days and very long nights. And
what about the people that live in Alaska?
Well, I'm saying
or the Arctic Circle.
Well, yeah, not that many people live there, and that might be part of the reason. Obviously, the climate is a major factor as well. But I don't know. I'd be really curious to know how their psychological well-being is for living there. I don't know. I just don't know the answer to that. But basically, sunrise is more important. It's more so you really should just wake up then.
No, I still debate that based on the experts I've talked to. Every person is different. I think most people, probably the vast majority of people, are gonna be attuned to sunrise. For me, someone like me, didn't matter. I literally could fall asleep riding, the Eurostar, standing up, like going from between London and Paris. Like I'm fine. Like that's how I used to be. I don't know about now because I'm ancient, but at least in my 20s, didn't matter. Maybe that's just, part of being in your 20s, that you can sleep or wake whenever you needed to. But, I think each person has their particular body clock, and part of why we aren't excelling at whatever it is that we're choosing to do is that we're fighting our natural tendencies, and sleep is one of those. So I think more people should look into that. And I think employers, if you are doing some kind of job that is remote capable, and time frames aren't as pressing, you can, get things done, like medical records, for example. Just get it done when it's, at your best hour. Like I don't know. That's how I worked when I was an editor. I really didn't care if the journos or whoever, as long as everybody met their deadlines, I didn't care what time they rolled into work. I said, just roll in sometime-ish during normal-ish business hours. Take your siesta at lunch. I don't care. Whatever. Don't miss a deadline. But fuck around and find out. And they knew that, right? And everybody loved it. And everybody excelled at their own various departments. Even our chipper front desk lady, lovely lady, obviously she had to be there during normal business hours to take calls. But everybody in every department, whether it was like graphics or, or editorial, we came in at different times. As long as there was a little overlap and we could have meetings, that's all I cared about. And then we hit our publishing deadlines. That was it. And everybody was happier and healthier for it. So I think there needs to be a revolution on how we look at productivity in America, and apply that towards businesses and how we get things done. Anyway, we have an ad we have to get to, from a word from the sponsor. Today's sponsor, I don't know who it is yet.
Okay.
If Robbie can go ahead and put that up.
If it's still available.
And if you have a question for us or recommendations, I put a chatter in from YouTube up that gave us some recommendations about who we should talk to for toxic masculinity. The email there, if you want to inbox us, TMI Show question@yahoo.com.
All right, here we go. Quick pause to tell you about Pickaxe, the creator and user-first platform built for people, not algorithms. You know what big tech is up to: data mining, bot-driven feeds, black box AI deciding who sees your work. Instead, Pickaxe hands you an algorithm-free chronological feed with native Rumble playback, auto-publishing of your live streams, free blue check verification, and full monetization control. Your voice, your rules. Best of all, the web version is live right now, and their iOS and Android apps drop next month. On Pickaxe, your Rumble videos play seamlessly right in your feed, as if they were built into the platform. No embeds, no workarounds, just smooth native playback. Even better, in beta now, creators can connect their Rumble channel to Pickaxe automatically post live streams and videos, so your followers never miss a moment. You can also write full articles directly on Pickaxe today, and later this year, you'll be able to blast them out as your own email list, newsletters, with one click, and build up your own email list for direct audience access. Monetize on your terms through paywalls, revenue sharing, or affiliate ads that auto-insert promo codes and tracking links. And because bots should not steal your spotlight, Pickaxe hands you a free blue check so everyone knows it's really you. Pickaxe is building tech that builds up humanity, algorithm-free, noise-free, human-first. Head to pickaxe.com, sign up, and take your platform to the next level. Real voices deserve a real home. And among other people you'll find me.
There you go. All right. And Lo Aller over on YouTube has a good point, Ted. The actual schedule we use was created to accommodate the factories after the Industrial Revolution. That's
true.
So thank you, Lo. I would say it is, again, we are subjugated to some kind of big corporation dictating our lives, even in our private lives, fighting against our natural, our otherwise natural inclinations.
That's true.
So there you go. Anyway, that is it for us on a happy hump day. So a lot of weird animal stories. If you guys see weird stories locally, wherever you are, we're into that. So
yeah, let us know.
So send them.
Yeah. Also, just a reminder, I will be in Kalispell, Montana at the Barnes & Noble both Friday and Saturday at 1 p.m. So hopefully I'll see you there.
And Ted is traveling tomorrow. So safe and happy travels, Ted. We have Scotty Nail Hughes filling in tomorrow.
Awesome.
So I don't know what we're going to put on the docket for tomorrow, but Ted is traveling to Kalispell, Montana. He's doing his book signing. You can go there both Friday and Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern time. There's Clovis going out the door back there. He knows the show's over, so he's like, I'm out of here.
He really does.
I don't.
I'm not kidding. He literally was like coming. He was under the desk, touching my foot, like, hey, come on, it's time.
Yeah, he just walked out because he knows. He probably heard me saying that does it for us. He's like, that's my cue. I'm out of here. Show's over.
Yeah,
I'm off air.
Yeah, I think that's really true.
I think so too. All right, guys, have a great Wednesday. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Safe travels, Ted. Robbie's picking him up at the airport. Maybe they're on. I think he's picking you up on a moose. Actually, I think he arranged.
I'm looking forward to seeing.
That's really
moose.
Cool.
Or his bear.
Very cool. Or the bear. Very cool. All right, guys. Thank you. Adios, amigos. Bye.
Bye.